Hello and welcome back once again. We've got our next match here in the 10th Alliance tournament. It is the Kadeshi versus the Space Police. And we've got two very interesting setups. One that we haven't seen anything quite like it before, but I think is going to be pretty representative of some of our really cool setups coming forward.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that you have two different setups this time instead of the Sleipnir that we've seen for the past three matches. You have Space Police and their three Tengus and Griffin.
And the Space Police is in the four Taluses.
I'm sorry, guys.
And it's the other way around. Yeah, the Kadeshi is in the three Tengus and a Griffin. So we've got. I'm kind of surprised that it took us this long to see our first real setup of Tier 3 battle cruisers. They are great ships, and they're really cheap for the tournament. These Taluses are blaster fit, and these Tengus are micro warp drive fit. So the Tengus are going to be damping, running as far away as possible, trying to stay out of range of the Taluses. If these Taluses can get on top of a Tengu, they're going to take them down fast. But the Taluses also have almost no tank. My money here is on the Tengus.
You see that the Vigil shoot out there, try to get tackle on something, while the Taluses try to catch up. It's going to be very tough as you see that Vigil just take more and more damage as it gets repped.
Yet, yes, the Vigil is getting repped, but it's not by a logistics ship. The Vigil is repping itself. It likely has an ancillary shield booster, which means I would bet that these Taluses are going to have the same thing. That is a pretty cool setup. Ancillary shield boosted Taluses, if so. Definitely that Vigil. Yep, they are shield tanked. So we're seeing shield. It looks like active shield tank Vigil, probably going to be active shield tank Taluses. That is a very creative setup, and I'm really liking it.
That's very new. Good use of the new modules in this tournament. You see both frigates are down. Now you have all the battle cruisers and the three Tengus left on the field.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of dampening, a lot of kiting now.
But we'll see how well that Talus can tank. It's doing its best, but it's bleeding into armor, and the Talus of Vankinov from the Space Police is going to be going down very soon under the missile spam. Unless they can take a Tengu down very quickly, it looks like the Kadeshi's Tengus are going to win the day.
It's quite amazing how well this Talus is tanking against these Tengus. You see it has a little bit of structure damage, and it just keeps popping back and forth. I expect it to die by now.
Well, the ancillary shield boosters do a great job of tanking damage. However, their biggest problem is that once they run out of charges, you have to start using cap for them, and these ships just don't have enough cap. We do, however, have a Talos already down. One Tengu and one Talos have been killed for boundary violations. So we've had one ship from each side down to boundary violations. That could swing it. With only two Tengus left, these Taloses will be in a tank for a long time with those boosters. This could be the break that the Space Police needs.
Yeah, I'm extremely surprised that these Tengus aren't faring better, that they aren't able to keep range on these Taluses.
Well, they're keeping range fine. The problem is they're keeping too much range. They've left, one of them has just straight up left the arena and been destroyed by Screech. So we've had two ships destroyed due to boundary violations here. That's one of the things that people often underestimate about the tournament, how difficult it can be to, while multitasking, handling all the other things you have to handle in the tournament, to stay in the arena. For people that don't know, if you're new to the tournament, the arena is 125 kilometers in a circle around the center beacon that you warp into. So if you get further out from that, your ship is instantly destroyed. And that's what's happened to both the Tengu of Mirko Spets and the Talos of Vankinov, for each team.
And you see these Taluses chasing behind Nishka, definitely with null loaded. So he has about 15 to 18k in front of the Talos, but with that null, they're
hitting fine, and they've taken him down. It looks like the Space Police is taking a commanding lead with only one Tengu left for the Kadeshi at this point. What likely happened is that the other Tengus, in order to avoid going out of the arena, had to take sharp turns, stop running away, which is what allowed the Space Police to catch them. Piloting a kite team in the tournament, I said this last year, I'll say it again, is actually very difficult. It's something that requires a lot of concentration and practice, and it's actually very different than any normal EVE PvP, because in normal EVE PvP you don't have to worry about things like the arena boundaries. Being able to handle everything you have to handle in a kite damp team takes a lot of practice, and it's hard, and it looks like that strain was too much for the Kadeshi in this case.
Yeah, but being fair, the Talos also lost a ship due to boundary violations. So.
They did, but when you're a rush team, when you're a team that just has to get on top of your opponents, the piloting job is a lot easier, and those teams tend to be a lot less vulnerable to losing a single ship. When you have a damp team that's relying on, say, like if you can keep these Taluses down below 15-kilometer lock range, then suddenly it becomes hard to use null. But if you start losing some of your damping ships, the Taluses start to lock again, and the whole house of cards falls apart.
Yeah, I'm extremely surprised at how well that ancillary booster was doing versus these three Tengus.
And with only one Tengu left, the Taluses can very slowly pulse their ancillary shield boosters. That being said, if this Tengu can survive long enough, these shield boosters for the Taluses are eventually going to run out of cap charges and have to be reloaded. And the ancillary shield booster, for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, it's a new module in the game, just released with Inferno. And this module is a shield booster that instead of using cap, uses cap charges. The same things you put into a cap booster. But once it runs out, you have the option of either reloading it, which takes a full minute, in which time the actual module can't be used, or you have to start using your cap, and it uses way more cap than a normal shield booster. I think this one Tengu would probably be enough DPS to take down a Talos within that minute. So really, once they run out of boosters, they're not going to have time to reload it. So if he can just keep distance and slowly plink away, he may have an ever so slight chance. It would be an impressive hero Tengu in that case, and with a great name too, Lieutenant Space Pig. I like it.
He definitely had a head start on them, being that he was only bottom of the arena while the Taluses had kited all the way to the top.
Yeah, it does look like he had done the best job of keeping out of range. Really, this team, like the Tengus, they don't have to stay together. There's no reason that your team should all be in one place. You want to be spread out as much as possible so that once one of your ships gets caught, it takes a long time for the next ones to get caught. Although now, Lieutenant Space Pig looks like he's taking some pretty significant damage from these Taluses.
What's interesting is you have the Tengu is only doing 240 meters second, while the Taluses are up towards to 1500.
Well, the Tengu right now, yeah, it looks like he just doesn't have his micro warp drive on for some reason.
Yeah.
We're not seeing a scrambling notification.
There goes. He's popping back up. He's back up to 700.
It's possible that he got complacent. He was sitting out far enough away that he didn't want to waste cap, turned off his micro warp drive, and didn't realize in time how quickly those Taluses got on top of you. A shield Talus, especially with a nano or two, will zip across this arena.
Oh yeah, so we saw these Taluses going upwards to 1600 meters second.
They're great nano ships, like giant vagabonds.
And that Talus just died.
And that is the match. We've got the Kadeshi with 14 points, Space Police with 62.5. That was not the result I expected, but it was a great job by the Space Police taking advantage of the mistakes that the Kadeshi made.
Yeah, it's a little bit of upsetting. I had a perfect record up until this match.
Yeah, so did I. This is my first prediction that was wrong too. But actually, Kadeshi with 14 points, if they put a really strong showing in next weekend, they may still be able to continue forward. 14 points is actually not too terrible of a point gathering for a losing match. But we'll see. Space Police, though, is in great position, full points, and we'll see them again next week, and then hopefully in the knockout rounds.
Yep, great jobs, guys, for bringing out-of-the-box setups. That was refreshing to see.